Hello, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is your first time visiting me. Today we are going to be doing a very special look at the new second edition of the Ink Witch Tarot by Eric Mayle. I am so excited to get into this. This is a early look copy. Eric sent this to me a little bit ago in anticipation of his upcoming Kickstarter. Well, his current Kickstarter at the time you're viewing this, the time I'm filming it, it's still upcoming. But this is the newest edition of the Ink Witch Tarot. I did not have the first edition, so I won't be able to offer a comparison on what's changed. But one of the things that I think is correct, and Eric, please, if you watch this, feel free to correct me down below, but I don't remember the first edition having a chunky guidebook. If you had the first edition, please feel free to tell us down below if you happen to see this, but I'm very excited about the full guidebook on this. And Eric was kind enough to send me the deck as well as the two little expansion packs. Now, I am not sure how the tiers on Kickstarter are going to be set up. I will have a link to the Kickstarter campaign down below so you can check out all of the current details. That is going to be the best place to get your most current information about this deck. But I want to do a first impressions walkthrough, an exploration of this deck. And again, I'm really excited. The first edition kind of went under my radar for a bit, and I do wonder if that may have been because there was no book, or maybe there was a book and I'm wildly misinformed, and I'm so sorry if that's the case. I am filming this late on a Friday night, and so I could be missing something, but I really want to get into this. Now, first of all, a couple of important details. So this is the limited Kickstarter edition, the second edition. Here's what it says on the back of the box. A complete tarot deck modeled largely after the format of the popular Rider-Waite Smith deck. Ink Witch features traditional themes and symbols found in many tarot decks with a few modern twists. You'll encounter Norse and Greek myths, pagan witches, Arthurian legends, familiar fairy tales, and the subtle but powerful magic of everyday life in the modern world. Ink Witch is suitable for both new and seasoned readers. This special edition of the Ink Witch Tarot deck includes 3 alternate variations of both the Lovers and Devil cards, as well as a unique extra card, the Witch, bringing it to contain a total of 84 cards. Now, that does not include the expansions. Now, what I did is I opened up all the plastic on everything. Let's take a look at the box. So it's a sturdy, this is my favorite kind of box, y'all. I love when it is a magnetic and it opens all the way flat. This just, to me, is the best user experience. I don't have to fuss with a separate lid. I don't have to deal with any of that. There's a ribbon lift out here so that we can get the little booklet out. Now, what comes in the deck is a keyword guide. So this is just a fold out pamphlet that has keyword information and talks about the extra versions of the cards that you'll find in the base deck. The base deck, I love saying it that way. Anyway, this is my favorite kind of box. It's glossy, really nice. And then we lift the cards out. Now, what I've done, if I'm not mistaken here, yes, here's everything. So I have the entire deck as well as both expansions. Let me just pull the expansions aside here. Where does the first expansion start? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull the expansions to the side. I wanted to keep everything together. So let me just drop this all together and put the box over to the side out of the view, just so it's not distracting. I'm so stoked about this. Okay, so here's what the backs look like. This feels like really nice, easy to shuffle, kind of snappy, smooth cardstock. Like, if you know, you know. This is the kind of deck that's going to be a pleasure to riffle, I can just tell. It feels like a classic finish, so it's not super crazy glossy. You can see that it catches the light, but it's not pure matte. It feels like maybe a classic, say, low Scarabeo style stock or something. It has, like I said, a little bit of bend and snap to it. I don't remember if Eric told me the exact specs of the cardstock, but I'm very excited about this. Now, this copy of the deck is a prototype, so just be aware that because it's a prototype, it's not the final Kickstarter fully not mass printed, but it's not the final printing, you know, the final printing of the deck. So there may be some small variances in this copy compared to the one that goes, that's going to be printed with the rest of them. Okay, I've zoomed in. We're going to go through the cards one by one. I have the guidebook here. I know me, I always say, oh, we'll look at the guidebook at the end, but then I want to look at it as we go. So I'm going to actually just get ready to have it handy in case I want to reference anything in the guidebook or read some blurbs from this, because I really like doing that. So that's what we're going to do. So we begin with the Fool, and we have the number sitting at the top and the title at the bottom. So these are like a 3/4 of the way borderless card with just a title bar along the bottom. I like that look. I think it's really nice. Makes it easy to see what you're doing, which is great. Or to see what you're looking at, which I appreciate. So what I really want by referring to the guidebook is to hear a little bit about why the Fool is illustrated this way. So when I see the Fool as this cat leaping after the bird, I can see what Eric's getting at here, right? Like he's showing that the cat is going after what it wants, but it's heedless to the consequences, right? There's this idea of maybe I'll get the bird. And here's what he says. He says the cage will topple, the bird might escape, the cat might catch it, the cat might get hurt, and so might the bird. He says, I wanted artwork that conveyed the sense of launching oneself into the unknown. There's no indication in this artwork of how much planning the cat did before it attacked the bird cage. Excellent point. It really shows somebody going after what they want without worrying about how it might end up. I think this is really beautiful, the owl as the magician. And I like that in the background, we don't see the actual physical tools of the 4 suits, but we see an imprint, like as if, you ever see a tool wall where like a cork tool wall and there's like kind of an outline of where everything goes? That's what it reminds me of. It's like the spot for the tool. So he's got some discussion here about the myth of Athena and how Athena can sometimes appear as an owl, which is super cool. I do like, just in general, it's like an owl holding the key. We have the lemniscate above the owl's head. We have the idea that the owl holds the key. So we've got what we need as far as potential to accomplish what we need to accomplish. The high priestess. Okay, what chess piece is that? I'm going to have to look this up. So, a bishop. Ah, yes. In some decks, this card is called the Papez, says Eric, and is believed to be a reference to the mysterious female Pope Joan. There is indeed a religious or spiritual element to the High Priestess. In many decks, the figure on this card is framed by black and white pillars that represent duality, but in this version of the card, the pillars are replaced by chess queens, so the chess queens being here. Oh, that's so cool. I like this. We have the queens reference there, and then we have the bishop sitting in the center. And then, of course, the chessboard itself is a good symbol for the priestess's skillful command of their own intuition and psychic power. They not only know the game, but command the board because they understand it completely as they understand the universe. That's cool. The Empress. I love this idea of these hands sort of holding this soft crown above this field where we see some little wheat stalks. It's simple and it's soft. This is a very calming deck to look at. And then we have the Emperor. So we have this like non-gendered way of looking at the Empress and the Emperor as just their crowns. And so we can think about how we see the feminine rulership versus the masculine rulership if we see it in that way, or we can take it completely out of terms like feminine, masculine and look at it in a different way, such as supportive and active or things like that. So I really like these two for the Empress and Emperor. The Hierophant takes us to church. Literally, we have this like kind of church window with the crossed keys and the dove. I think this imagery is really lovely. And again, it's simple. It brings you right into it. So here we have the first of the lovers. I love that we get 2 men as lovers. I think it's much more common to see, if there's going to be alternate lovers cards, to see 2 female figures or 2 feminine presenting figures than to see 2 men or masculine presenting figures. So I think that's really great. I love that. And then we also have this one. Now I like this because just the way, maybe it's the way that this image is cropped, I get kind of a butch femme vibe here, but I'm looking for that, right? Because that's my situation, right? That's what I look for. And then we have a really nice non-people-y lovers in these form of these birds, which is really great that we see this man, woman, 2 little birds. And then we have a elk and a doe, right? Elk and doe? Stag and doe. That's what I was trying to say. A stag and a doe. So that's really great. So we have 4 different options. So this would be great if you want to show those kinds of duality style imagery or energies. That's what I want to say without being people-y. And the birds is the most neutral of all of them, I feel like. But I really love that Lovers card. So we're going to pull these other ones aside, of course. And I'm going to keep that one in there for now. Next, we have the Chariot. This brings it into modern. Now, I think Eric mentions that this is actually his car, which I think is super fun. Yep, I drew my actual car for this card. I really love my car. It's small and gas efficient and reliable, and I think of it as my own chariot. I think this is fun. I really like the 2 cats, the black and the white cat, pictured here with the car, because cats, of course, with their sort of mischievous nature, really sort of speak to me of the distractions and the things that can kind of take you off course in the car. I was really enchanted by this strength card because I normally, maybe enchanted's not the right word. Originally I was really uncomfortable with it, but I recognized this image from somewhere, old. And I know that there's been something similar more recently, but I feel like this just looked iconic to me, and he addresses it in the guidebook. It's based on the famous photo Flower Power shot by Burnaby, Boston, in which a young man commonly identified as activist George Edgerly Harris III places carnations into the barrels of guns in a demonstration calling for an end to the Vietnam War in 1967. And that is indeed where I remembered this image from. And I just thought that was really gentle and powerful. We see a compassionate response to an aggressive situation, an aggressive action. And that to me really speaks to the gentleness of strength. I think a lot of times we see strength, not a lot of times, but in some, especially older historical decks, we see a lot more ferocious of a lion, for example, being tamed in the strength card. And I really like when we see a combination of a very gentle touch with something fierce. I think that's a really poignant imagery. The hermit crab, wow, Lisa. The hermit crab for the hermit I have no complaints. It's perfect. And this has got to be this is the Wheel of Fortune, but this has got to be a nod to the Moirai, the Greek fates. I'm just going to confirm. Yeah. Around it are the hands. So the card depicts a spinning wheel of the Greek fates. Around it are the hands of the three fates, also called the Moirai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, y'all. Clothos spins thread, Lachesis measures it out, and Atropos cuts it. I love this for the Wheel of Fortune. It really speaks to the fact that you could be at any point in this cycle in your life and just to recognize that things are always changing. Justice is really lovely. I wonder what he says about justice here. Oh, interesting. I struggled for a long time for the imagery of this card and never was completely satisfied with it. Ultimately, this is what Eric says in the book. I went with the first version of the card that I illustrated for the base version of the Inkwitch deck, which was loosely inspired by Eugene Delacroix's painting, Liberty Leading the People. I wanted to project a modern version of justice and her connection to marginalized groups, leading a crowd march like Liberty does in Delacroix's painting. The image I settled on for the final artwork shows justice at the front of a marching protest. So that's lovely. I like the image. I like that the scales are balanced. I like that the sword is directly upright. These are things I look for in my justice card. The Hanged Man. So I like this because of multiple things. I think this is definitely a nod to Odin. We are missing an eye. We have Hugin and Mugen. I'm sure that's what that is. Yeah, it's Odin. And then we have the spear piercing him. And the thing about the Hanged One is that there's often a sacrifice or a I want to make sure my camera's not, that's fine. There's often some kind of sacrifice or there's often some kind of discomfort associated with what's going on. It's interesting that he's upright because we would typically see this card like hanging like this, but of course Odin didn't necessarily hang that way. I mean, maybe he did, I don't know. There will be other options for a lot of these cards in the expansions and we're going to go through that at the end together. Okay, I love death. Of course, this is very Persephone with the pomegranate, and I just think this is absolutely beautiful and confirmed. Definitely Persephone and the pomegranate. Now, temperance was interesting. So Eric says about this, I used an alchemical symbol on this card, the twin Ouroboros. The Ouroboros was a popular symbol in alchemy for representing the idea of eternity, especially as a cycle. Life leads to death, which leads to rebirth, and death again and rebirth again, and so on. Now, when I hear that, I think immediately of cards like the World or the Wheel, but he goes on to say it indicates perpetual balance, and the alchemy aspect of this imagery represents temperance's association with science, the process of trial and error, experimentation, and creative power. So he goes on from there, but I think this is really interesting. It sort of shows the harmony between opposites with these two different colors of the snake, the purple and the gold. And here we have a devil. Now, I like to see the devil as a twist on the lovers. And so here we have the two men. There's the two women. So I'm going to keep this one because that matches the deck that I kept, or the lover's card that I kept. And then we have the cat coming after the birds for the devil. That's so great for the bird version. And then we have a snake with the stag and doe. That's so cool. I love all the different variations for the lovers and the devil. And I love that he addressed both because of the link between those two cards. So next we have the tower. I'm not fond of this tower because it shows like an atomic bomb. And I don't like seeing, I typically wouldn't like military action in my deck as well for strength. I can't remember if there's an alternate strength card. I think there may be an alternate, I'm pretty sure there's an alternate tower, but this isn't my favorite imagery, but it is very, very powerful. It does talk about the havoc and destruction of the tower. And then the star as like a comet, and you can see the little car on the road. That is sweet. I like that. I love that we see the phases of the moon and we still have the dog and the wolf in the moon card. I like to see sort of harmony between the two creatures, like sort of in that card, and a nod to the wildness, but also a nod to the magic of the moon. This is not as, I should say, slanted as a lot of decks pick a position on the moon. Are we going to dive into sort of the illusion and shadowy aspect? Or are we going to be more like moon reverent? This feels somewhat neutral, actually. It doesn't feel, you can still see the shadowing, so you still have the shadow aspect to work with, but it's not going like deep into the dark or just into the light, which I like. This is neat because it's sort of a cosmic view of the sun. I like that. And then we have Anubis for Judgment here. And I love this. This is so cool. So you don't often see butterfly symbology in the Judgment card, but you see it here when you see the caterpillar on one side of the scale and the butterfly over here. And that transformation, that evolution, I often talk about evolution with Judgment, is really evident in that imagery. And I really think that's cool. And then we have the world, which this literally looks like the world tree. I bet you it's meant to be Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil? How do you say that? Yggdrasil? Yggdrasil? Let's just double check. Yep, the world tree, much like Yggdrasil, suggests that everything is connected like the world card. It reminds us that things don't often simply end. So we get that idea of sort of above, below, like the three realms, like the upper realm, the middle realm, and the lower realm. I love that. Oh my gosh, this Ace of Wands is fabulous. I don't know if I'm going to need the guidebook a lot, but I just want to enjoy the images. I love the idea of like this whole magic out of a hat vibe. There's this wonder to the Ace of Wands that is captured really really well in that image. Oh, and this is so good too. So we have somebody doing some cartography here, using some kind of compass to draw maps. This is so the energy of the potential and the planning and the plotting of the two, and I love it so much. Now let's see. I haven't peeked. Is the Three of Wands going to have the energy of embarking? Oh, it works. Okay, the ships are coming towards us, but it still works for me. I like some sort of movement in the Three of Wands, and we have it here. It's not, I would almost prefer it going the other direction, but this actually does a beautiful job of marrying the most common way of looking at this, which is your ships are coming in. So you see that in this image, but I can also work with it for my personal idea of it being about launching your stuff, right? Going forward. The Four of Wands, this is such a great thing because we have sparklers and 4 little sparklers going off. This is such a nice, calming, it doesn't feel minimalist. I wouldn't use the word minimalist, but the art style is very it's not chaotic. It's not busy. It's very calm. Oh, I'm really excited about it. It's very calm. This feels perfect for me. My personal keyword for the Four of Wands is milestone, and I love seeing this little bit of celebratory energy here. And sparklers are not fireworks, right? It's not necessarily the final thing, but there's something to celebrate there, which is great. Oh, this is so peaceful in the Five of Wands. I don't know. I mean, you can see that there's a kerfuffle up here with the birds, and it's kind of disturbing the peace of the environment. We're in this kind of pond, and up here, the birds seem like they're all running into each other. There's feathers flying. Let's just see what he says about this one. The Five of Wands suggests that we have the ability to solve problems through our conflicts. It's as much a card of debate and brainstorming as it is a card of arguments and squabbles. The 5 birds on this card may appear to be fighting amongst each other, but they may also appear as if they've been startled by something and are taking flight together as a group. That's a good point. There's conflict, but also a sense of togetherness, competition, but also cooperation. That's a really cool, kind of empowered take on the 5 of Wands. Okay, I love the carousel horse for the 6 of Wands. I don't get immediately the sense of victory or success or recognition from this particular image, but it's sort of like that nod. It brings me back to the RWS version of the card, and I really just love the vibe of it. So I'll forgive it that I don't see recognition immediately. Look at the 7 of Wands. Oh my goodness. So we have this coil of serpent, it looks like, almost down below here. Could be a dragon, could be a snake, and this I was going to say kitty cat, but that's like a mouse or he probably says. I'm so bad at animal identification. I don't know why I ever bother trying to guess. A little mouse. Okay, good. Phew. Is hiding in some tall plants while a snake curls around the base of its perch. Well, since I've got the book open, let me just see what he says about the 6 of Wands. The 6 of Wands always feels like a parade to me. However, it's worth noting that the carousel horses are not actually attached to a carousel at all. They appear to be moving freely, and it's open to your own interpretation whether that means they're moving forward or still in circles, as we expect to see with a carousel. Carousels are a nice representation of joy and playfulness, much like a parade. So he's kind of going the parade route there, whereas I tend to go more about being recognized for your efforts. But this works really well for the 7 of Wands, that idea of being in kind of what feels like a precarious position. There's something bigger and stronger than you that's coming after you, but you've got to hold your higher ground. I think that works really well there. And this one is the 8 of Wands. I like this because there's this building of magic. How I view this image is people gathering around, sort of sending their intention into the flame. It reminds me of witchy circles back in the day, actually, and sort of building the energy and then sending it off to a purpose. I really love that for the 8 of Wands. And for the 9, we kind of have a torches and pitchforks. Oh my gosh, I just said pitchforks. We kind of have a torches and pitchforks sort of view there. Let's just see. On this card, there's nobody with torches. Well, they've got torches. There's nobody with pitchforks, I should say. On this card, a band of travelers cross a bridge in a dark wood at night. Their way is lit by the torches they carry, and one of them even seems to be lagging behind, wary of a wolf lurking in the shadows in the foreground. So there's some danger on the horizon, but they're making their way. This card reminds us we're already equipped to handle the dangers, but warns us that while we will make it out of this, we may be tired and even wounded when we do. So it's kind of like the precariousness of the position. And this is very classic burdensome energy for the 10 of Wands. I love, 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 love this because I really feel like there's a strong relationship between the pages and the aces. And we see it here, right? We had the magic coming out of the hat for the Ace of Wands. And then we have the page doing street magic, it seems, with magic out of a hat for the Page of Wands. And I love seeing that connection. I wonder if that's going to be present for all the pages and aces, but I love that. This Knight of Wands is such a mood, right? We get that kind of like hot guy vibe, passionate, you know, we get that feel from this image. It's really works well, actually. And then we have the Queen of Wands, this black cat above the sunflowers. Again, love the black cat sunflower symbology for the Queen of Wands. I said again as if I've said it before, just not in this video. The King of Wands painting their own crown is classic to me. There's the artistic sort of visionary vibe of the King of Wands in this image. The creativity, there's even a little salamander down here to like bring you back to the fire. The interesting thing I feel about this colors is that I realized through the wand suits, there's some of these like kind of rusty oranges and like reds and golds throughout, actually quite a bit of them. But there's also some of these calm blue grays. The whole color palette of this deck, again, it's just very soothing to look at. My favorite suit, let's see what I think about the cups. I love a hot cup of tea, the comfort of that in the Ace of Cups, because there's something like the feeling of the Ace of Cups, that feeling of blessing is like a moment of gratitude, a moment of contentment, a moment of peace, a moment of gratitude. It's just, there's so much, it's so lovely. I just love that. And then we have, so I'm digging the coffee shop vibes so far. The Two of Cups, we see two people with very different beverages. You really get the idea of two people like having maybe a first date or something like that going on there. That works so well, but it could also be friends. It also shows that they appreciate each other's differences. I feel like I could go a lot of ways with such a simple image, but it works really well. And then we really get the vibe of three friends together. There's grapes here, so you get the idea that it's wine. What I really love about this, though, is that you have this person is helping to fill this person's cup, and this person is getting from this person and also filling back here. You get the idea that this person has energy to share. So do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's like spoon sharing. You know what I mean? Somebody has more spoons, so they're offering more. This is kind of what the energy of the Three of Cups is about to me. It's like filling in or helping where there might be lack from one place. In your community group or your friend group, somebody else can pick up the slack and so on. I think that's really beautiful. The cat knocking over the cups because it's bored or whatever, he or she is bored. That's just perfection. For the Four of Cups, just like, I don't want to, like, I can't be bothered. There's like this just kind of discontent about the Four of Cups. I like that. This is fantastic. It's a dry fountain in the middle of a cemetery for the Five of Cups. You get the loss in the morning, but you also get this idea of just feeling just emptied out emotionally, which can really happen in the Five of Cups. I love that. I always love a tea party type reference in the Six of Cups. It's so classic. I feel like a lot of people have illustrated their cards in various versions of this. It works so well though, and it really takes me right to that place of like sort of nostalgia and reminiscing and sweeter times. The Seven of Cups. This is really a time of like dreaming and fantasizing and what could be, what's possible, what could be possible. It's kind of like pipe dream land. And I feel that here, it's like they're sort of brewing some sort of magic potion that's going to just make everything better. It just feels very fantastical, which works well for the Seven. And in the Eight, we have somebody, now this is interesting. I'll be so interested to see what the Six of Swords looks like. In fact, I might even just set this aside or turn it sideways so I remember to look. But the Eight of Cups and the Six of Swords are often confused with one another. They're sort of like a mix-up because they're both cards about leaving. To me, the difference is that the Eight of Cups is a conscious choice to leave because you realize that you've been putting all this energy into something and it's no longer serving, it's no longer working, it's no longer worth it in one way or another. And so you're choosing to leave. And so here we have this boat leaving and we have all these cups sort of tumbling down to the bottom of the ocean, just kind of letting it all go. Some of them are broken, some of them are whole. It's not about everything being damaged necessarily. It could be. But so I'm going to turn this to the side because I'm interested because we often see travel over water for the Six of Swords. While it's very clear you're looking at the cups versus the swords, I'm wondering how it might be different. So I'm going to turn that to the side so I remember. And then the Nine of Cups, I want something more here, but I don't know if I could tell you what it is. I mean, the Nine of Cups is an important card to me personally. It's one I associate with like sort of, oh my gosh, I'm fumbling the card, with like gratitude and self-love and being content and sort of finding a place where you can be comfortable with yourself. because I have such strong feelings about this card, just generally the Nine of Cups, it's hard for me to find images that really, really, really like tick all the boxes for me. So this is great. We see lots of different kinds of flowers. You get the idea of sort of abundance, but it feels kind of earthy to me. It doesn't quite hit where I want it to hit, but I like this image in general. And then we have the Ten of Cups. I love the overflowing like waterfall and all these sweet little, what are they? They look like little lemurs or something, like little monkeys. I don't know what they are. Somebody help. Oh, wait, I've got a guidebook. I'm dumb. Okay, hold on. Let me just actually look it up. This is the 10. Let's see. A community of, okay, I cannot, I'm going to just hold it up. A community of, where's the word? Okay, come on, focus. I don't know what that word is. Okay, well, I need to know what that is. Is that a kind of monkey? I don't know. Anyways, it says, it shows a community of them in 10 pools of water. So there's like all these different pools. And it says, these primates are often associated with their close-knit social groups in which they sometimes gather in hot springs and groom one another. I've always associated these monkeys, thank you, Eric, for telling me they're monkeys, with community. And it's fitting that they're often associated with hot springs, as the suit of cups is also the suit of water. So that made a fun option for the 10 of cups. Totally like that. That's cool. I love this, the Page of Cups, because this takes me right back to the 6 of Cups. And the 6 of Cups and the Page of Cups, they feel energetically, they have things in common, right? Because the 6 of Cups is about innocent times. It's about reminiscing, nostalgia, playfulness. We see that energy in the Page of Cups. So seeing a little tea bag tag hanging out here is, to me, so perfect for the Page of Cups. And then we have the fish leaping out of the cup, which brings us back to the RWS image where the page is holding a cup where a fish is leaping out of it. So that works really well. The Knight of Cups, I think this is great. Just period. It kind of makes me feel like Grail myth. Oh, I bet it is Grail myth because he mentioned Arthur at the beginning. Hold on. Yep, it's Sir Lancelot. Yep. Though the Grail is within his grasp, he cannot take it. It rejects him for his secret affair with Queen Guinevere, his greatest wrongdoing, which even then had already begun creating the chaos that will eventually bring about Camelot's fall. Aww. But Lancelot is a good representation for the Knight of Cups energy for sure. And then the Queen of Cups. Okay, now I need to know if this is also related to some sort of myth. The book is a treasure, y'all. Just talks about placing. I don't think this is associated with a specific story. No, but I love the mermaid vibe here. It does give me Little Mermaid energy for sure. And then we have the King of Cups. I love this giant cup that looks a lot like the Grail, actually. In fact, it is the Grail. It's got to be. And it's almost like the Knight of Cups is all grown up now and is like, I don't need to chase after this. I can actually just be content with my life and I can find balance. I think that's really beautiful. I don't know if that's intentional, but now I'm going to look and see if it was. Yep. The Arthurian Holy Grail appears here again on the King and Sovereign of Cups, a reference to the Holy Grail. The figure here on this card is meant to represent the Fisher King. Oh, that makes sense. And in many versions of the Arthurian legend, the Fisher King is the last in a long line of Grail Keeper kings. He possesses the Grail but has no need of it and waits for another to come and claim it. The glowing crown seen above the Grail on the Knight of Cups now adorns the Fisher King on this card. Wait. Oh, the glowing crown. Okay, so I'll show you what he's talking about here. Okay, so there's a glowing crown just in light here, right above the cup, right there. And you can see it above the king's head, right there, in the Fisher King, in the King of Cups. Love that. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords, Sword of the Stone coming right out of, you really see the Arthurian legend here. And of course, Excalibur is a beautiful representation of the Ace of Swords. 2 unicorns, are they stabbing each other? Eric. Can we be friends? I don't think so. Like, you can't have unicorns stabbing each other in your deck and expect me to like you. Like this. I'm just kidding. Let me just see. What does he say about this? You better explain yourself, Eric. What is going on? Okay, let's see. The 2 unicorns on this card are different only in the smallest ways, and while they seem to be fighting one another, thank you, that's better, they are equally matched in their fight with no indication of who will win. Well, that means they're still fighting. Okay, anyways, the 2 of Swords is usually about choices or challenges in which every path before us appears equally desirable or undesirable. Agree. It may often call on us to examine the very subtle difference between the options we've been presented. It goes on from there, but I mean, it's still 2 unicorns fighting, so I stand by my earlier statement. Ooh, but we get narwhals being friendly, right? Or are they stabbing that bird? What is happening? You can tell I'm like, I already don't trust you anymore, Eric. I say that as if you're watching this. I don't know that you're watching this. Okay, anyways. In many decks, the Three of Swords shows a heart pierced by 3 swords and comes with a strong connotation of heartbreak. In this version of the card, 3 narwhals rise out of the water in attempt... You are trying to get them to... What is... Who hurt you, Eric? Why are the unicorn-like creatures stabbing things? What is that about? Do we need to have a... Do we need a unicorn intervention? Why are they stabbing? I don't even... Did you had to know I was gonna have a feeling about this when you sent me this deck. Anyways, let's just see what it says. Okay, sorry. In this version of the card, 3 narwhals rise out of the water in an attempt to spear a solitary flying bird. Y'all, I don't know about this. I wanted this card to depict an active effort to cause pain and to destroy something beautiful. That's really interesting. Oftentimes, grief and sorrow, especially when the heart is involved, come from external forces. We may have lost a loved one or experienced a bad breakup, and now we're grieving our loss and dealing with the pain left behind. When this happens, we oftentimes feel as if we've been actually attacked. We respond as such, either lashing out or withdrawing inwards. When the Three of Swords appears, we're likely dealing with a sense of pain that we cannot avoid. However, it's important to recognize how we respond to that pain. Now, I think lacking the explanation, I would have been much crankier about this, but I just want to know if in the rest of the deck there's going to be like a nice unicorn moment, because it's not looking good for unicorn kind in Eric's deck here. All right, so now we have the Four of Swords. Is that a cicada? Am I just like trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about when I really don't? Probably. It is a cicada. Oh, I didn't even know that they buried themselves. Okay, so it talks about here that there are some varieties that bury themselves for several years and spend only a very limited time above ground. That's so cool. I love the idea of sort of being beneath the earth in the Four of Swords. I think there's an element of sort of retreat that highlights for me, and I like that. Oh, that's got to be Fenrir the wolf. Yep. There's a Norse myth. This is the Five of Swords. This is actually really good for the Five of Swords because I like to think of the Five of Swords as the card of tyranny. And here we have, if you know the story of Fenrir the wolf, there's a betrayal involved. So here's what he says. There's a Norse myth about a wolf named Fenrir that grows larger and more terrifying as it rapidly ages. Eventually, it is foretold to the god Odin that Fenrir will one day slay him and devour the sun. At the time of the prophecy, Fenrir is an ally to Odin and the other gods, but Odin becomes so paranoid of Fenrir eventually betraying him that he tricks the wolf into allowing itself to be bound and imprisoned in a cave. There's more to the story than this because he was also, it involves, it's one of the runes. Oh my gosh, who's the guy's name? There's a god that basically promises Tiwaz. Is it the Tiwaz rune? It's like about honor. I'm pretty sure it's the Tiwaz rune. But anyways, he says, you know, I'm gonna help you or something. And I shouldn't try to tell the story, but oh, it's bugging me that I can't remember it off the. I used to know it really well, but if you read about the runes, you'll learn the story. But essentially, another warrior god basically promises I think they had to finish killing Fenrir or something, and he says, I won't harm you, and Fenrir makes him promise, and he says, okay, well, if I betray you, you can take my hand. And he does betray him, and Fenrir takes his hand, something like that. I think that was part of how they got him captured or something. I can't remember now. Shoot, somebody in the comments is going to know the story, but it's really sad. There's definitely betrayal here. There's definitely tyranny. This really works. Here. So I wanted to compare these. So let me just pull back out the Six of Swords. Excuse me, the Eight of Cups. So in the Eight of Cups, we get this like sort of a departure. We're leaving these like sort of cups behind. In the Six of Swords, we're actually viewing the person rowing away, and they're rowing with the swords, and they have like a babe in their arms, and the water's very rough. So it's definitely a very different feeling. It feels a lot more desperate, which is what I was kind of hoping, because to me, the Six of Swords is more about escape than about a calm sort of departure. So I like this. I love this so much because there's multiple ways to interpret the Seven of Swords. One of the ways you can look at this card is as the rebellious card. Sometimes we're rebellious and it's harmful behavior. Like there's deception or there's theft. There's different ways to rebel. But sometimes there's honor beneath the actions, or sometimes it's just that somebody's not going along with the status quo. And I feel like there's different ways to interpret this particular image where you can look at both of those meanings as part of it, and I like that. And then we have the Eight of Swords, which this is great. The idea of being sort of in the magic box, like being stabbed from all directions, this brings us back to magic. I like that magic, like street magic or performance magic, shows up in this deck. That's kind of cool, but that is how it feels, like just being like hemmed in from all sides. I like to see more easy freedom in the card, but actually, because it's a magic box, I think the implication here is that, of course, the person is free. They're not even really in the box, right? Like the box is the illusion. Yep. So he says, I like the idea of this magic trick as a metaphor for the Eight of Swords. It's an illusion and a performance, but a believable one. We often trick ourselves into believing that our made-up traps are real. And he goes on from there. That's perfect. Yes. The downward pointing swords as if they're just going to, like, fall on you. Oh! The little marks at the tip of the swords. Sorry, I'm just going to keep, like, referring to the guidebook. I don't know why I keep trying to put it away. Oh! The image of 9 hanging swords on this card is a reference to the Sword of Damocles story. That's perfect. I love that so much. Oh, here's what it says. Okay, so Dionysius suspends a sword above the throne by a single strand of horsehair to be pointed down at Damocles in a symbolic representation. Hold, please. Okay. Okay, so in this story, believing that Damocles merely longs for the luxury and fortune of being king, Dionysius suspends a sword above the throne by a single strand of horsehair to be pointed down at Damocles in a symbolic representation of the lethal pressure and danger one must face as a king. Damocles then spends his day as a king, fulfilling Dionysius's duties from the throne under constant threat of the sword falling down on him. So it's like the little marks here are highlighting the sharp point of the sword and how it's hanging just by so little above us. We feel very like we're about to be hurt in the Nine of Swords, right? We're very afraid. And then we have a poor speared moth or butterfly in the Ten of Swords. Ugh. That's a bummer. Oh, the Page of Swords is being knighted. That's really lovely. I love the Arthurian vibe there. The Knight of Swords is a raven. Let's see if there's more to this. A pro perched atop a sword on the field of battle, or perhaps the knight is even someone we don't see on the scene yet, coming to take up the sword and answer a call to action. I think the imagery of a sword and a crow is also reminiscent of the aftermath of a battle, so says Eric. The chips in the sword's blade suggest it has been put to use at least once. Ah, okay. I like that. Then we have the Queen of Swords. I love her. Is that meant to be Joan of Arc, I wonder? Oh, I'm not even to the Pentacles yet. Hold on. Yep. The original one is to feature Joan of Arc. Okay, I thought so. And then we have the King of Swords. This is pulling the sword from the stone, the Arthurian legend. I love that Triskele there. Beautiful. And we're into the Pentacles now. So they have a ring and they also have the coin. Are they planting the coin? I think they're planting the coin. They're treating it as a seed. Let's just see. Oh, on this card, a hand clad in sparkling jewelry plants a coin like a seed in a garden of sprouts that are also sparkling. Everything is sparkly. I love that. The precariousness here is perfect for what I like in my Two of Pentacles. Love bees for the 3. They have that steady work that we get. We have a dragon. Oh, dragons seem kind of nice. Just sitting on their hoard, all content. Like they're not stabbing anybody or breathing fire on anyone. I think Eric likes dragons more than he likes unicorns. That's what I think. That's a good image for the 4 of Pentacles, though. The 5 of Pentacles. This is about loss, and we have fruit that's gone bad on the tree, is what I'm assuming I'm seeing here, because the flies are going after it. Yep, rotting fruits. We're behaving as if our resources are at risk. Interesting. This card is sometimes a warning to be cautious with resources, but also a reminder to be realistic. I'm reminded of produce that's starting to go bad when I pull this card, in the way that sometimes we can simply cut away the bruises and eat the parts of the fruit that are still good. Other times, the produce may only look a little rough, but is perfectly fine to eat if we cook it into a soup. Yeah, making the most of what you have, knowing that there's more there than maybe you thought. I love the generosity, the coins going into the cup in the 6 of Pentacles. And I like this for the 7 of Pentacles. It feels more 8 of Pentacles-y, to be honest, but I'm just curious what he says. When I think of needlepoint, I think of work that takes a long time, but you also can sort of see how it's going as you're doing it. And I like to see some uncertainty in the 7 of Pentacles. Let's just see. Ah, it's cross-stitch. A time-consuming and repetitive process that takes practice and a surprising amount of energy and patience. This is so true. It says cross-stitch often requires one to pause from time to time and check their work, at least when they're newer to the craft. This is true. If you've ever cross-stitched, this is totally true. It's easy to miss stitches and throw one's work out of order without realizing. If you're working on the 7 of Pentacles and if you're working on cross-stitch and you're too close to your work, if you don't, like he said, if you don't step back and sort of look at the big picture, yeah, you can like literally have missed one stitch and you have to pull a bunch of work out and it's terrible. It's so frustrating. So that really works for the frustration or the pensiveness, I guess you could say, the tension around it. I do really like metal forge or smithing, is that what you call it? Work for the Eight of Pentacles. I like the repetition of it and the perfection of it. This Nine of Pentacles with the sort of castle walls and the stars as pentacles in the sky. I like that. But then in the Ten of Pentacles, the wealth is not so material, right? We have a lot of the material wealth in the 9, but in the 10, we almost have like, you get this feeling of generations and stability and comfort and the family tree, so to speak. I like that a lot. Then we have the Page, saving his pennies. Love it. The Knight, the fortune cat. I want to see what he says about it, though. I don't know enough about it to be able to make the connection right away. Maniki Nico, also called lucky cats, like the one on this card, are oftentimes considered talismans of good fortune. Let's see. Well, the piggy bank on the Page of Pentacles is a good place to save one's money. The Maniki Nico draws money in. The Knight of Pentacles already understands the basics of working hard, studying, and getting things done. When this card appears, it is often time to begin fine-tuning your work and paying attention to details. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles. Is this like a mama rat taking care of baby rats? That's what I see there. I don't know if that's... A mother cat nursing kittens. Oh, they're kittens. Oh, that's cute. I like that. I like the nourishment of that. And that looks like a Chinese dragon. Yeah, a Chinese dragon for the King of Pentacles. That makes sense. They're associated with fortune and luck and wisdom. And then we have the Witch, who is working with a tarot deck that looks an awful lot like the Ink Witch. And I think that's great. I freaking love that. Does he actually provide a meaning for the Witch? Autonomy, personal power, choosing your own fate. And in reverse, it's self-doubt, relinquishing power, relying on others. Love that. Okay, so I'm keeping this in order. We're going to go through. I guess I should have kept the Devil and the Lovers card handy. I'm going to pull this. I guess I'm going to keep it right here. Let's take a look at the expansions because there's going to be some alternative cards. So the first, oh no, that's the second expansion. Let's look at the first expansion. Now, I don't know, like I said, how this is going to be set up in Kickstarter for you to be able to get these. So the first alternative we have is for the High Priestess. This is the same image but a different title, and that's probably for a non-gendered option. I still prefer this High Priestess. So I'm going to go ahead and put this card in my current rejects. Ooh, but of these two, I prefer this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over there and replace that one. Next we have, I'm just wondering, is that going to seem like it fits? Yeah, it still fits. Okay. Next we have, instead of the Empress, we have Cultivation. I want to keep the title the Empress. Ooh, but I really like Cultivation and Structure a lot. Oh, I can't decide. I kind of like that though. Cultivation. I think I'm going to keep the Empress and the Emperor because I feel like this could bind me up a little bit. Let's just see. Okay. Next we have the Teacher versus the Hierophant. I really like the Teacher. I love the book. I love the vibe here. So I'm going to put that one in. Next we have the Hanged One. I freaking love this. I actually made this specific analogy in the book that I'm writing for the Well, and I talked about the chrysalis experience being a Hanged One experience. So I love this so much. I really do like Odin as well, but this is too perfect. So that's going in. And then we have for the Queens and Kings, we have the same imagery. Oh, there's some different imagery here. So we have Guardian instead of Queen and Sovereign instead of King. Oh, I really love this image so much. Guardian and Sovereign. Okay, we got to look at these. Okay, so let's go to the Queen and King of Wands first. Okay, so there's the Queen of Wands versus the Guardian. I think I can just keep the Queen here. There's the Sovereign and the King. I'm going to keep that. Let's take a look at the cups. Oh, I'm flipping my cards over here. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Then we have the Queen of Cups versus the Guardian of Cups. I like the Queen. And then these are the same image. So I'm going to stick with those. Let's get to the swords. Okay, Guardian of Swords. I really like Joan of Arc here a lot. So I'm going to keep her. I like this better for the King of Swords for sure. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, I like that for the Pentacles. Let's just see. Okay, so, no, I love the Mother Cat. And we have the same image there, just a new name. Yeah, so I'm going to keep... So I didn't actually use as many from the first expansion. I don't think. I think I only made a couple replacements. The Hierophant, what's the other one? Oh, the Fool is still part of this one. Okay, so that was the second expansion. I've got them all mixed up, but that's fine. Then there is the second expansion. So that was the first expansion. This is the second expansion. What have I done here? Wait a minute. Oh, this is just my second edition card. I was like, wait, what? So I think I got these expansions mixed up. I'm sorry. I think I got them mixed up. Wait, let me confirm so that I don't screw us up here. Let's just see. This expansion includes alternate artwork for the second edition. And the second expansion includes the Hanged Ones. The one I just did, the expansion I just went through, I'm so sorry. The expansion I just went through was the second expansion. That's the one that had the Chrysalis for the Hanged One and had a lot of alternative names for traditional ones to get out of gender. So that's what happens in the second expansion is the gender replacements for the kings and queens, as well as for the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant. Okay, yeah, that was the second expansion we just did. Gosh, guys, sorry. And then the first expansion, so I did them in the wrong order. But anyways, we have High Priestess instead of Seer. So I am going to swap this out because I like the name the High Priestess, but I prefer this image. So I'm going to take that one. Ooh, and then Justice. Which Justice do I like better? Let's see. What was Justice again? Oh, I like both of these a lot. But I really like her. Then again, her sword is upright. I don't know. I kind of like the close-up imagery of this one. I can't decide. Oh no, I'm out of frame, y'all. I'm sorry. There we go. You'd think I'd never done this before. I just got lost in what I was doing. I cannot decide. I think for now I'm going to use her, and then we'll see where I end up. But I really like both of those. Okay. Here's our alternate tower, thank goodness, because I really did not like the bomb situation happening here. So I'm definitely going to replace the tower. I like this fire watchtower vibe here a lot. So I'll put that one in there. Oh, and then we have some more alternative quartz. So let's get to, gosh, I feel like it's so cluttered here. Okay, let's get back to the Knight of Wands. Ooh, okay, so we have the peacock or the dude. I really like the guy, to be honest. So I'm going to keep the guy. Oh, and then for the queen, we have her or the cat with the sunflowers. As cool as this card is, it doesn't necessarily feel Queen of Wandsy, but then again, is that... I keep going out of frame, I'm sorry. Is that meant to be... I gotta look this up. Now he does... Oh, something I should point out. Eric does show all the versions of the artwork and discuss them in the guidebook when there's differences. So like, for example, in Justice, you get both versions and he discusses both versions. So for the Queen of Wands... The Queen or Guardian of Wands, right? We have Queen or Guardian. We have both images. Let's see. This is Cinderella's fairy godmother. I do like that, but it doesn't feel as Queen of Wandsy as this does to me for some reason. Ooh. And I like the aged feel of this King of Wands and the fact that he's painting, but this is a beautiful card. What did I do here? Yeah, okay. Now we have the Three of Cups. Ooh, okay, I like both of these. They're really showing the same kind of thing. I love the little butterfly here, and I think I like the coloration variants, but then again, this is all the blues. What does he say? Yes, when I first illustrated this card, I was interested in the idea of passing things down from one person to the next, sharing love and support among a group of people. The grapes, spider, and butterfly on this card. Oh, wait, so is this the original one? Indicate a connection to harvest, hard work, and transformation, respectively. The rewards obtained working together with a close group of friends. Initially, I had intended the hands in the image to appear as older and younger to indicate a maiden-mother crone motif, with the maiden at the bottom, the mother in the middle, and the crone at top. Then when I redrew this card for the second edition of Ink Witch, pictured on the left, so this is the second edition version, I had become worried that the spider webs, and butterfly might be confusing symbols without an explanation. I wanted to make the card easier to read without that, so I mostly focused on the passing of liquid. I actually liked that. It really kept me honed in. I think I could definitely get distracted by the butterfly and the spider web. So I am going to stick with the second edition version of that card. These are both freaking great. I mean, I love the side eye that this cat is giving. Like a lot. What does he say here? I literally am so interested in what Eric's intention for this is. This is just, it sounds like just an artistic choice. He just felt like he wasn't as happy with the design of the card. But there's something about this cat's facial expression. Like, look at this. Look at the cat. The cat's like knows exactly. It's like, doop. If there's a dick look on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being a dick and I know it kind of thing. I love that, actually. I love that. So these are both great images, but I actually prefer the original one, rather than the second edition new version. And the 10 of Cups. I feel like this is going to work better for me. I really love the little monkeys, to be honest. Nope, I'm going to stick with the monkeys. I'm going to stick with the monkeys. And then, let's see, we have the King of Swords. Oh, I see what's happening here. Yeah, this one looks a little young. I like this almost looks like, I could read this as, now that he's gone on his journey, he's putting the sword back in the stone for the next person. This feels kind of page-ish. I do like this one better. And then we have a close-up on the Seven of Pentacles. Gosh, I don't know which one I like better. I feel like this shows that idea of being close up to your work. She looks frustrated here. This looks like maybe there's some errors on some of these, so some missed efforts, maybe. I think I'm going to stick with the new one, actually, on this one. Ooh, the 10. The 10 of Pentacles. This looks like the 9 to me. I wonder if that's why he changed it. Yeah, doesn't that look, that totally looks like a, yeah, I really prefer the original. And then we have Knight. Then we have the Queen. I love the cat, the nursing cat. And then we have the King. Ooh, he's gambling. Oh, he's got the money to burn. Knows when to hold, knows when to fold. I really like this actually a lot. Oh, I keep messing up my cards here. Okay. And then we have the Witch. Okay, so I've gone through both of the expansions and picked my perfect cards to work with. So what I'm going to do, because this is great, it's so great. Look at all these extra options you have. I love being able to customize my deck this way. There's a couple of decks that have done this kind of thing. The Terra Volatile. I'm thinking of what else. Now, if you were backing this deck, again, I don't know how it's going to be set up. If you're trying to decide on expansion, some bits and pieces that I think are important to point out. The first expansion offered some just changes in artwork, right? Like, so you have the different High Priestess. We had some other options such as the Seven of Pentacles swap that I just showed you. We had the King of Swords swap that I showed you, right? So a lot of the first expansion cards actually seem to be nods to Eric's original artwork. So if you preferred some of the other images, that's what you're going to find in the first expansion. The second expansion included all of the gender swap options. So if that's important to you, like if you want to be able to have like the Guardians, the Seer, structure and cultivation instead of Emperor and Empress, if those things are important to you, that Hanged Man difference. So instead of Hanged Man, we have Hanged One. It's a Chrysalis, so that takes the gender out of it as well. Although I do really love Odin in here. There's lots and lots of different options for you to go with, but the second expansion offers you the gender stuff. The first expansion is a lot of artwork swaps, but there are some of that in both. Really cool to be able to basically customize your deck in this way. So bravo to you, Eric. That's a lot to figure out how to do, but everything, this is the important point. All the expansions fit in the box. Okay, so what I like to do when I have a situation like this, let me pull my little keyword sheet out and we'll look at the guidebook as well. I like to put extra stuff like this underneath the ribbon. So when I put my deck in, and I put it on top of the ribbon, it's really easy to keep everything separate. So like that, you can just lift out the cards you are using and keep your extra cards in the bottom. So he did size this box. Everything fits perfectly together. There's no issue whatsoever. It fits perfectly. So if you customize your deck, if you get both expansions and you want to keep the extra cards down there so you can change it up later, or if maybe like you want to swap out the Lovers and the Devil for a different client, or for if you're reading for somebody in particular, you have that option. So I want to do a quick shuffle and then we'll look at the guidebook. Let me zoom us back out. All right. This is gonna, like a dream, like butter. It's not a linen, it's a really beautiful, smooth, bendy, snappy cardstock. Oh, love it. If you know, you know, right? Like that little bit of kind of like classic finish to tarot cards. It's just beautiful. I love it. I have talked a lot about the guidebook and I have shown quite a bit from the guidebook. I think this has turned into kind of a deep dive. I think I've been filming for almost an hour. So I guess I'm just, it's the mood I'm in, right? Fans beautifully because of course it's a nice slidey cardstock. So love that, shuffles beautifully. Let me show you some more about the guidebook here. So it's quite chunky. You have 208 pages. And let's take a look. So this is second edition. Talks about how the deck is structured, how to read the cards. So every card is listed in the table of contents. There's an intro. I love reading this stuff. I love hearing the tarot creator's perspective, how the deck is structured. So that's great. Yep, if you're using the Ink Witch second extension, that's the second expansion, or I think, does he call them extensions? I've been calling it the wrong thing the whole time. Are they called extensions rather than expansions? It's such a little thing, Lisa, but no, they're called expansions. Okay, just double checking. I had to check and make sure I hadn't called it the wrong thing the whole time. Talks about the names of the courts, how to read the cards, using spreads, beginning a reading. There's some spreads. Oh, there's a Celtic cross. I'm just checking to see if it's similar to mine. It's really close. It's close, but there's a couple differences. I so far have not yet found a Celtic cross that exactly matches mine. There's a Persephone's pomegranate seed spread, as well as, ooh, there's an awakening spread for the Hanged Man. There's a judgment spread. There's a witch spread. Oh, I want to do this one. The nature of your power, what motivates your power. Oh, this is cool. Okay. All right. And then talks about using tarot with Oracle. So Eric also has this Oracle deck. Does he say what it's called in here? Because I forget. But it's panoramic. It looks like that. Dawn Michelle has it. But anyways, there's Oracle deck as well by Eric. Anyways, the card entries are great. So the left side is where you get things like the keywords, what the card means, what it means if it's reversed. The right side is where you'll find thumbnail images and information about the artwork and the creation process. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, and wherever there are alternate cards, they're both listed in the guidebook, which I really, really appreciate. It's very thoughtfully done. And like I said, I don't know if there was a guidebook for the first edition. I should know that. I should have looked that up before making this video. But yeah, so you can see all the different versions of the Queen of Pentacles. You have to choose from between both expansions. The King of Pentacles. Good stuff, this deck. So very, very excited about it. I'm going to be playing with the spreads for sure and working with this more. And of course, you'll hear more my future thoughts on this deck in videos like my monthly show and tells. Or if you're a member, we can pull it into readings. I wanted to really highlight this. I will also talk about it in my recent deck roundup, but I wanted to have this video out, and I think this video is actually going to come out before my recent deck roundup, so I might forget to include it in my recent deck roundup because I'm filming this earlier. But I do want to say that I believe the guidebook, the big guidebook, is probably going to be a extra purchase, and the little pamphlet that comes with does have some really great keywords. They look like they're just general keywords. It's not like upright and reversed. So for example, for the Six of Cups, you get nostalgia, inner child, and youth, that kind of thing. So you get some decent keywords to go throughout. So it's really good as a quick snapshot, but it's not going to give you all the information that the big guidebook is. I think that if you're really attracted to this deck, the guidebook is a worthwhile addition for sure. Like, I think it's really well done. Yeah. I'm pleased. Thank you again to Eric for sending this to me so I could share it with all of you. And all of you, please be sure and check out Eric's Kickstarter for the 2nd edition. If you are interested in this, you will definitely want to snap it up. I will have that link down below for you, as well as any other relevant information in case I've forgotten something. And for now, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, extra big thank you goes out to my unicorn fam. Y'all, your support means so much. And to all of you watching, I appreciate your time here and your likes and your comments, all the things you do to engage with this video. Really appreciate it. And until next time, y'all, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.